So we've just had a quick delivery. Well, not quick, but it's come a 5-hour drive from Joe at Shifting Metal. If you follow Joe, you'll have seen a video on this ML. No one can fix it.
And no one wants to work on it. For some reason, no one wants to change this sensor which lives inside the gearbox. We wouldn't have minded paying, you know, what it costs.
So he sent it to me. And by this point in the video, I have completely forgot to do my introduction. So hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are fixing Shifting Metal's unfixable ML. Right, first road test in Joe from Shifting Metal's ML. I've actually had a good look around this car. It's actually in really good condition. It's done 87,000 miles, which is nothing for one of these. It's a good spec. Bodywork's good. It's actually a decent car. Joe said he's having gearbox issues.
What seemed to be happening was that driving along in normal automatic mode, it would just decide it really liked first gear or third gear, I don't even know which one it was, and it would just stay in that gear and it wouldn't change out of it, which, you know, is tricky when you're on the motorway.
We're shifting through the gears, so far so good. So he said he's having gearbox issues, no one can fix it. He's took it to somewhere. They quoted him 4,000 to fix it.
£4,000, which just writes this car off. Why would you do that on a car that you only sold for $4,995?
Which seems a lot of money to me. So we need to get the fault to happen, basically, and get some faults logged so we can do some testing. But I have to say, this isn't a bad car. Don't think Joe's a big fan of this model, to be honest.
I'm not that fond of this era of Mercedes ML. Didn't really like it.
I don't mind it. It's not bad. My missus drives one of these, actually. It's a great family car. We get the pram in it, throw everything in it, and forget about it. In fact, this is in better condition than my missus' car. She treats the cars like it's a wheelie bin, to be honest. So from what Joe has told me, he's actually sold this car. The person that bought it drove it around for a couple of months, no issues at all. Started having issues. Joe, being the decent guy he is, has tried to get it resolved for him because obviously he wants to sell the car. Just can't seem to get it done. So he's had to actually refund the customer. I'm really hoping I can get this sorted for him because that sounds like a massive pain. To me, it's worth fixing because I've said it a few times now. It's actually a nice one, this. Right, I've done nearly 4 miles. I've not managed to replicate the fault, but we are getting late in the day. Traffic is building up, so gonna have to keep testing this one. Right, this is 2 weeks later from my road test. I have not been able to get Joe's ML to play up on me. It's like going to the doctor with knee ache, isn't it? You get there, your knee stops aching. So what we are relying on is previous data. So luckily in the car there's a printout code that must have been deleted of what was going on. So that is some information. So we're investigating here. So I've got a code for signal component output speed sensor not available. That's that one. So that's someone else's. The history I found in my diagnosis was no communication received from the gearbox control unit, which is the same thing as the sensor. It's all on one big circuit board. We have done a video on this before, but it looks like you're going to get another one. I've got that code stored in quite a few control units. Now, I've been daily in this car on and off for 2 weeks and not replicated the fault. I've done nearly 60 miles, maybe 70 miles. Not what we wanted. We wanted to experience the problem ourselves so we could see exactly what current faults have come. However, that's not happened. So we spoke to Joe. Basically, I said, well, you know, what do you want to do? The options are I keep going, or do we just commit and go off the information we have got and change the control unit? It is a common item to fail. So Joe said, yeah, let's just do it. So fair play to him for committing to that. Since we did the last video on a gearbox conductor plate, I was inundated with messages, Instagram DMs, emails, comments on how to fix someone else's car. It's not that simple. Basically, the last one we did, we had a really specific coding issue for that car. So I'm going to hopefully go a little bit more in depth on this video to try and explain that if you're having a programming issue with a 7-speed gearbox, I can't help you. Basically, well, you need a Mercedes Star Machine to start with. So, first process. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the gearbox control unit, and I'm going to retrieve what they call an EHS number, which is the part number of the valve body the plate sits on, because these plates are not compatible with all valve bodies. So that's the first thing you've got to check. I've figured out what my EHS number is. You've got to go on the Mercedes part system, select a conductor plate, and there's a special footnote which tells you what valve bodies these plates are compatible for. This is very important. So our plate number is 220-270-2106. Now this plate is not compatible for a 1006, 1106, a 1206 or a 1406. So that means we can fit a plate to this car, and it should be straightforward. Should it not be straightforward, like the last video, we'd have to make some amendments to the VDOC, and that is where people are asking me for loads of help. That car was, whatever year it was, SLK, with a certain version, valve body and plate. There's so many different configurations. People are asking me, what did I do to fix it? Well, what I did isn't going to fix your problem, because you've got a different car, different version of gearbox. People don't have access to modify the codes like I do, so don't ask me, can't help you. I'll try and provide as much information as I can in this video. If it's not in this video, don't ask me, can't help you, sorry. First thing we've got to do is get the sump off, get the fluid drained, and gain access to the control unit. Pretty straightforward stuff. We've shown this numerous times, so we'll just get on with that. So I'm unpacking the new plate. I'll show you the specific sensor that we're having faults reported with. We are reporting faults with this one, and we're also losing communication to the plate itself, but mainly this bit. This is the main ECU, if you like. So it plugs in there, communicates via the board to there. But these are all speed sensors as well. But the one we've reported faults with is this one and that control unit. As you can see, you get all new bolts, all one-time use bolts. Right, so now in the process of getting the valve body out so we can take the old plate off. Nathan's took his jumper off because you get covered in oil dripping on you.
It's cold. Back here. What's that there?
Oh, it's going right under your armpit.
I know, I can
Look at that there.
no.
Get a camera in there. Right down his armpit.
You got it? I'm gonna go have a shower.
There's the old plate, which is on top of the valve body. So we now have to remove it from the valve body, and then I can explain a bit more about compatibility. All this bit's quite straightforward. This here can stick in the gearbox, or it can fall out and you're not realising. You can actually refit the whole thing without that, and you're going to have serious problems, and you want to make note of which way it comes out. That was loose.
Yeah, it went very tight, was it?
That was loose. So that's the old plate off. See if it's got a date on it. See if it's the original one. 2007.
So it is original.
Yeah, so that is the original plate by the looks of things. 2007, if I'm not mistaken. I'll check what year the car is, but hopefully that tallies up.
I don't even know what year it is, because the eagle-eyed among you would have noticed that it's got a Northern Irish number plate on it. I didn't look what year it was, did I? 2007.
So now we'll give the valve body a bit of a clean, put the new plate on, get it all back together, and then we need to program and teach it to the car. So once this plate is fitted to the valve body and programmed to the car, it's locked to that vehicle. You can't ever interchange it between other vehicles. It's locked in. People do say that you can, what they call, virginize them and erase the data for it to be reused and stuff, but the official methods via Mercedes, once it's fitted, that's it. Right, we're ready to put the new plate on. Now, going back to a previous video I did, this is where the complication came in. So the version of the plate we're taking off is a version 2. As you can see, it's got a big number 2 on there. This version is a version 3. It's kind of having an upgrade. Now, sometimes you can fit that plate to that valve body, program it to the car, that's it, job done. Some rare occasions, which we found out in the previous video, there's some very specific codings that you have to change in order to make your latest version 3 plate compatible with your older version valve body, which is this big block of metal. So at the beginning of the video, I showed you the first thing you have to do is one of these plates even compatible with that? There's 4 or 5 part numbers it's not compatible with. If you're one of those numbers, you have to replace the valve body with the conductor plate attached to it. You buy the whole thing from Mercedes. That's the only way around that. If you check out that you can fit this, that's great. We're now going to fit it. The final checks are, if it doesn't program, then you've got those codes which you need to amend, which is valve body version and car model specific. That doesn't really explain why Joe has struggled to get this job done, but he did get a quote for £4,000.
So I think the quote we got was about £4,000, which just writes this car off.
We charge currently 2024 £1,200 plus VAT to do this job. I think the plate on its own is about 700 or 800 plus VAT, plus your fluid, plus your filter, gasket, labour and programming, and that's where we get to 1200 plus VAT. A lot of these jobs we do on this channel, when you actually break down a bill, we're not actually charging a lot of money to do this job. The majority of it is in parts. You're nearly at £1,000 in parts. before you fit the plate, you get a dowel in the bolt kit which isn't factory fitted to the valve body. So you've got to remember to fit this dowel, which I just nearly forgot. I don't know why they make you fit one now when they should have put one on from factory, but this is where it goes. It goes in there. That's it. That just basically helps you locate the plate a bit better and stops it moving when you're trying to tighten things down. So just before we fit the valve body in, I was just explaining to the boys that you can see how much they've changed the sensors. That obviously looks nothing like that one or that one. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you can buy repair kits and solder new sensors in and stuff like that. I'm not a massive fan of that, if I'm honest. I would rather put the latest plate in with the latest sensors, fresh bill of health, and that's it. Valve body and conductor plates back in. Things left to do: clean the sump, put the sump on. Put a filter on. Fresh filter, sump gasket, pump it up with fluid, then we can get the car down and go through the programming procedure. All done, back in, fluids in, ready to go. Plug the diagnostics in. First thing it says to do is to disconnect our brand new control unit and plug in our old one, and we'll just leave it hanging down to retrieve the data off the old one in order to transfer. Because we didn't have any fault codes stored, usually it would take the data off the old control unit before we fit the new one, but in this case we didn't have any codes. So bit of an odd way around this, but this is how you got to do it sometimes. So we're now starting the process. Should it accept software, we're not going to have to change any coding whatsoever. If it doesn't, we could be faced with the same problem we had last time. So it's accepted software. We're now installing new software. It takes about 10-15 minutes. The screen doesn't say that. The screen says it takes about 7 minutes, but it doesn't. It takes a lot longer. So it's a little bit of a procedure, this. Until this is programmed, the car will not run. It completely immobilizes it. Which brings me on actually to even ordering this part isn't straightforward. It's what they call a theft relevant part. So to order it, you have to fill in quite a lot of paperwork and provide a lot of documents in order to order one. You can't walk into a dealership and buy one of these. And even when they deliver the part, I've got to sign another document to say I've received it, and the delivery driver also checks the car. Finally done. This has took nearly an hour just to program. We lost internet halfway through the programming stage and it completely messed everything up. I think that's now successful.
Face for happy man.
Every time I program a car before I go home, something goes wrong. It's going back through it all again, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, formatting and coding.
Sack all that off. So why is it making me do that again? Right, I'm going to see if it starts. What a nightmare. Right, ignition off, and key in, ignition on, glow plug light off, start position.
Hey!
Right, okay, all programmed, done. Now we need to get the gearbox up to temperature, drain the fluid out. We've shown that multiple times. And then we can road test and come to a conclusion on this job. Right, we're just about to get the car out and we have a right hand brake light bulb out. Now, these MLs used to suffer with a brake bulb holder issue where it burns the contacts out in the back of the light. So fitting a new bulb doesn't resolve the issue. So we have a solution which will save the customer replacing the whole light. So here, look how old that bag is, that's how long I've had this. Got loads of these from back in the day. I presume you can still buy them. Part number 164-826-0007. So what this is going to do is, it's going to give us a modified bulb holder. So the old one creates a contact here and here by touching the back of the lamp where the circuit is. This has no contacts on it and provides us with a piece of loom. So we can take the pin out of the plug, put it in there, so it's kind of hardwired into the system. A lot better. That was a good modification back in the day. Well done, Mercedes. So, need to identify which pin is the live for the brake.
Got a bit of that, don't worry.
At the end of the loom, you have this. That's an earth, which we can bolt to the earth. And then we just need the live pin to go in there from the brake bulb feed. We need a test light, and then we can determine which one is the brake. But we're now going to slide our new pin into our new plug, which is then going to connect to our new holder. Plug the original plug back in, bolt that to the earth, and then that's all that done. And then we'll make sure we've got a brake light. Brake light's at the back, mate. Oh, that's not the key. Who's got the key? Right, you ready? Ready?
No brake light there.
No, shut up. Right, it is now the following day. It was going home time and it was dark, so I couldn't finish the video off. First road test since fitting the new conductor plate. That's shifting metals, unfixable ML, fixed. Although we didn't experience the problem ourselves, which would have been nice. Like I said, we've had to go off stored information in the car. A couple of people have said it's this, where it's been for other diagnoses. I am really struggling with where £4,000 has come from to fix this car. That is pretty crazy, to be honest. Even if they wanted to replace the valve body with the conductor plate, it's still not £4,000. I actually quite like these MLs. I think value for money. You can't really go wrong. You can pick these up now for next to nothing. Let's just pretend this car's worth £7,000. If you wanted a G350 with the same mileage and year, this would be £37,000. So that just puts in perspective that these are a bit of a bargain. Well, so far so good on the road test. We're shifting through all the gears without any problems at all. I think I said early on in this video, this is actually quite a nice one as far as these go, especially for an 07. Obviously doing the plate, it's also had a gearbox service, so we'll document that, which is always a good selling point. I mean, the fact it's had this plate is a really good selling point. It's a common fault for any Mercedes with this gearbox. So if you see one that's had one done, it's a bonus for anyone. It's not a bad thing that it's had this gearbox repair, it's a good thing. So I didn't go in massive detail on fitting this part just because I've done it before on another video. So I'll leave the link below for that video. Whereas this video is concentrating more on the unfixable car, which is fixable. Maybe they just didn't want to do it. You're best off just saying, I don't want to do it, and throw prices around like that. I've turned jobs away before now. Rather than price myself out of the job, I just say I don't want to do the job. Well, that's 5 miles done. So hopefully Joe's pleased with this, that he's now got a car he can sell. Obviously profit margin is probably dwindling away for him, as this is an unexpected, pretty expensive repair. Little Brucey bonus that we've fixed the brake light. I'd hate for him to have got back home, put a bulb in it, and you've still got a brake light problem. The bulb modification I've done on this car, they are no longer available. You cannot buy that modified loom anymore from Mercedes, that is. I'm pretty sure if you Google the part number, somebody will be making them somewhere, probably China. But if you want a Mercedes one, you cannot buy one. What a shame they've stopped doing that. Why stop making that? There's still plenty of these on the road. While we are on the topic of MLs, 164 MLs, there is a recall going around for these. The recall is the brake booster. Should that fail, you're in big trouble. You're going to have a really hard brake pedal. You're barely going to get any brakes, to be honest. That assists the pedal to be nice and easy for you to apply. So I'd highly recommend, if you own a 164 ML, to get in touch with your local dealer, see if this recall's been done. If it hasn't, get it done. It's a good £1,000 worth of work for free. So it's good that they're actually recalling a part like that at this kind of age, so take advantage. You can also check it on the MOT check website, which I'll leave a link for below in the description. That's not always 100% accurate, so I'd still check with your dealer, but it's a good, easy way to do it online. So I think that concludes this video. We have fixed the unfixable for Joe at Shifting Metal. I will leave a link below for Joe's channel. It's a really good channel, actually. I am actually a subscriber. Keep an eye out for merchandise. We sold out within 2 hours, so we have ordered more merchandise. Keep an eye on the website. The link is below. Keep checking. If it's back in stock, get your orders in quick. Christmas is coming. Other than that, make sure you like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one.